Welcome back to AWS On Air, live from Remars, and another episode of Amster and the Brits Code Corner.
Code Corner again!
Code Corner again, so soon. It's good to be back, isn't it?
All right.
I'm Steve Roberts, developer advocate for .NET and PowerShell at AWS, and you are?
I'm A.M. Grabelny. I'm a solutions architect and one half of Amster and the Brit.
Indeed you are.
So proud of that title, too, by the way, Steve. It's my turn this time,
It's
right?
you are in the hot seat this time, and we are going to be showing some code.
Okay, but before we do, I heard that there's maybe a new hat. I heard you went hat shopping.
Oh, I did go hat shop. Well, this is the first of the new hats.
Okay.
We'll have to get the other hat out later on.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
All right. I'll need to see the other hat, too.
Okay.
I've heard.
We will finish up the day with the new hat.
As you know, I'm a hat connoisseur.
Indeed. It helps keep the glare down.
Yeah, it does.
All right, what have you got for us?
We're going to do two today, if we can get to them.
Okay.
One is using Poly, and one is using Transcribe. Do we want to talk about those two real quick? Like what they are and what they do?
Give me the one-sentence description.
You got it. Wow.
For each, you're allowed two.
Okay. Poly takes text and makes it audio.
Audio, okay.
Transcribe takes things like audio and video and makes it text.
Okay.
Did I do it?
You did it.
That could be one sentence, actually.
Yeah, there's a join in there. But that's okay. That's okay.
Right.
And we're going to be using .NET again. So we're using C#.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Steve. Actually, we're not. I wrote all of this in Python.
I can see the CS proj from here. I'm good.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But just to reiterate, you could do this from any of our language SDKs. But we're choosing .NET because,
because
I'm on stage.
Steve pressured me into it.
All right, what have you got for us then?
All right, so we'll start with Poly, I believe, is what this one is. Let me.
So this looks very similar to what we were showing yesterday's Code Corner, setting up local credentials to run on your machine, instantiating the clients from the SDK.
That's right, Steve. Right? I didn't steal any of your code.
Didn't steal any of this code, right? Yeah.
I did not take any of your code. None. Not a single line.
Promise.
But yes, so we are going to be running this locally on my local machine. However, you could run it from any compute, basically, anywhere that has the ability to get credentials to access these services.
And by getting credentials here, we mean not putting credentials on the machine, but getting credentials from an identity and access management role.
Correct.
You do not want to put credentials on the machines.
And you scope that role down just to have access to Poly.
Yes.
I'm certain you all are looking at my code right now and seeing AMSG admin and knowing that I didn't do that. But do what I say, not what I do.
Yes.
So scope that role down, only have it to the services that you need to access,
and operations.
Only the permissions that you need for that service.
Yep.
Don't use embedded credentials.
Yep.
Two tips.
Don't do what AM's doing.
From the Code Corner. I don't have embedded credentials, technically, but I didn't scope my role down.
Yep.
So as Steve explained yesterday, if you caught us, the way that the .NET SDK or C# SDK works is you get credentials, you put them into a chain, and then you load that into the individual clients that you pull down from the other SDK. So I've got Poly client here, I've got S3 client. And so I did this off camera, and I can show you, as we looked at yesterday. I pulled in those from NuGet, which Steve explained yesterday. NuGet is like the...
it's like NPM for JavaScript developers, right? It's just a package repository of code, and that's where we publish our SDK.
Exactly. So I've got Poly and S3 here. If we keep going down our code here, I'm going to have to put some things into a bucket.
Okay.
I'm not going to have to put everything into a bucket. So there are some limits with Poly in terms of characters that you can send direct to the API. All right. So some of it, if it's under a certain character limit, you can just send direct to the API. Otherwise, you have to give it a bucket that it'll output the MP3 to, or whatever format you choose.
So we're talking about file size here.
Correct.
The object size. Right?
That's right. That's right. So what I've done is I'm pulling from this URL up here an RSS feed of our blog, right? The AWS blog.
Yep.
And as I pull that down, I'm sending direct the title of each blog post to Poly, right? So we can see that happening here.
Okay.
So I've traversed the XML document, which was fun doing XML again, Steve. I had forgotten the joys of XML.
You loved every moment of it.
I did. JSON forever. Anyway, XML, I traversed the document, I pulled the title out, And you notice this, Steve? I put what looks like a little HTML tag.
It does look like a HTML tag.
Yeah, these are some tags that you can insert into text that you send to Poly to give it instructions.
All right.
So like this break, for example, this will take a break of 1 second in between saying this next line of, would you like to hear this blog?
Okay.
So I just take that, I send it to Poly using the synthesized speech async method from the SDK.
This is .NET 6, so we're using async methods, right?
That's right.
We
I
just
always
form
use
up the request object for the synthesized speech API call.
Correct.
Populate it with the values, and then
Yes.
the SDK will take care of actually transforming that to whether it be XML or JSON on the wire to the service. So we don't have to worry about any of that.
That's right. So this is going to convert the title into audio, and we're going to listen to that title and see if we want to actually download the entire blog and create that into an audio. Right?
Okay.
So we ask, would you like to hear this blog?
Okay.
And then I've got some little control code here, some logic here around like entering in a character. If I want to hear the blog, I put yes or Y. And then we move on to the next call from the Poly client, start speech synthesis task.
Okay.
This is what I mentioned earlier, Steve. I had too many characters from these blog posts. One in particular was extremely long that I'm going to talk to you about.
Okay.
Anyway, I can't send it direct to the API. I have to, I send the text,
So
but
you
I
send the
still have to
text.
get the file back, not
Okay.
from the API, because it kicks off an asynchronous
Task.
job.
Okay.
Right? And so I have to keep polling that job to find when it's done, which explains why I have this while loop.
So you're polling, waiting for that task to finish, and then you're going to pull down the result.
That's right.
From
That's
the
what
service.
This task.delay
Yep.
does. It just pauses for 5 seconds and then
Okay.
tries to, I've got a third call to the Poly service through the SDK with get speech synthesis task.
Okay.
And I send it the unique ID, the task ID that I got back from the service when I started the task. And so
All right.
now I can check to see when we get to completed. And when we get to completed, we're going to download
Yep.
the MP3 from S3.
Yep.
And we should have a blog.
Okay.
You
Can
wanna
we run
hear?
it? Yeah, let's go.
Okay. I just do .NET run. And this is going to start.
AWS
There we
IoT
go.
Express
there it
link
is.
now generally available.
Everybody just suddenly
Quickly
sat up in the
developed
hall.
Devices that connect securely to AWS
This is an
Cloud.
announcement.
Yes.
Would you like to hear
Should
this
have
blog?
announced lunch.
Do you want to hear this one?
No, I don't think so.
Moving on.
New high-volume outbound communication with Amazon Connect outbound campaigns.
What about this one?
Would you like to hear this
No.
blog?
Okay.
AWS Week in Review. June
Oh no,
20,
this one. I'm
2022.
a very good friend of the
Would
person
you
that wrote
like
this
to hear
blog.
this blog?
So yeah, let's listen to this one. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put one
Yeah.
then. So this kicked off the task. Now
Okay.
we're going to have our while loop go and go and go. We're going to pause for 5 seconds. And so we're scheduled now. I've been printing out the actual.
While we're waiting
Task.
for that, by the way, I just noticed you don't have the AWS Toolkit for Visual Studio Code installed because you don't have it on the side.
I'm
Oh.
a CLI guy, Steve.
AWS
Oh, boy.
Week in
Oh,
Review,
here it is.
June
Okay,
30,
so I printed out the
2022.
text of the
Would you like to hear this blog?
the blog itself. Oh, how weird! What is that name at the bottom there?
Yeah. Who's that?
Dash Steve.
Ah.
Okay, weird.
Apparently he's at Remars as well. So
All right,
that's good.
So, very interesting. I'm going to play it now. I'll go back to that other terminal.
Okay.
So if I open my file system, I've downloaded it automatically for me. It tagged it full blog with the GUID that I had generated. So I'm going to just start playing it. You ready?
Yep.
This post is part of our Week in Review series. Check back each week for a quick roundup of interesting news
Here
and
we are.
announcements from AWS. Last week's launch as it's been a quiet week on the AWS News blog. However, a glance at what's
This
new
blog
page
is
shows
very
the
familiar.
various service
Is it?
teams have been busy as usual.
All
Here's
right,
a
I'll
roundup
stop
of
there. We won't listen
announcements
to the
that
full blog. But don't, do you feel?
I'm feeling the love.
Yeah, you just feel so
Yeah. Yep.
wonderful that your own words have
My
now
own
been
words have been echoed
breathed
back.
into life.
They have been echoed back at me like the whole collection of haunted dolls. But you know, it's good.
I wish we did have. We do kind of have a haunted doll-esque voice that we could have changed
We
that
could.
to.
We could.
I picked Nicole. We have one named Justin. That is the voice of a little
Oh,
boy.
yeah, yeah.
That could be a haunted
That
doll.
could be a haunted doll. Yep. Yep.
Anyway, moving
Moving on.
We've got another one. I promised you two. So now I'm going the opposite direction, Steve. We have a, and I might not be able to get to the full code, but we'll see.
Well, we can go through the code pretty quick, right? Because it's very similar to what we've already seen, right? The credentials, instantiate the clients.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
what makes this one special?
So what I'm doing here is I'm pulling down from, again, another RSS feed, our podcast, the AWS podcast. And, you know, I want to get a transcript of that podcast, maybe while I'm listening to verify I'm, you know, hearing what I'm supposed to be hearing, or for whatever reason, maybe I can't listen to it and I just would rather read it. So I'm turning the podcast to a blog. So I'm pulling down from, again, this RSS feed up here, different RSS feed, the actual MP3, and I'm going to use a service called Transcribe. So I've got my instantiated Transcribe client right here, just how we had before. So I'm right here, I'm writing all the bytes of the podcast to my local machine. I'm shortening it for this. This is why I've got this process block. I'm using FFmpeg, or MPEG, to shorten it to 30 seconds for this demo.
Okay.
So it's only going to be the first 30 seconds of the blog. And then I start again. So Transcribe has a transcription job, just very similar to the second Poly example I did.
Right.
And so I have to send it off and give it a bucket where it can save.
So this is an asynchronous operation in the cloud.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's going to save a JSON file that has all this markup about, like, at what time, you know, what time marker did this word happen and things like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Wait for the job to finish.
Again, I'm polling for the job to finish.
Yep.
And that's it. That's all the code. We're going to save the actual file to a results.json file.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I have built a little PowerShell script.
I'm so proud of you.
Look at, I need that moment right there. I'm so proud of you. Just on a loop somewhere. Somebody cut that out for me, please. So I've got this. It's going to play the actual podcast, and then it's going to write the text to the console.
Okay.
So we should see it.
Let's go.
If it works. All right, .NET run. Got a minute 30.
Minute 30. Will we make it? Will we make it?
Well, something didn't happen, so.
Maybe not then.
Maybe not. Here we go. That's good. There. So FFmpeg, I can't ever say that.
Right.
Just shortened it. Now it's out for polling for our job status. Okay. We might just pull this.
Might just pull this one off.
Right under the wire.
Yeah.
All right. We're still in progress. Transcribe, I believe in you.
You can do it.
Never let me down before. I love you as a service.
But I notice you have a results.json there already.
Oh, I think that's from earlier, actually.
Oh, okay.
But maybe I can just...
play that one.
Yeah. So actually, let's just play it, just in case. So I'm going to play it from PowerShell. Here we go.
This is episode 531 of the AWS podcast, released on June
Nice.
19th,
We missed
2022.
AWS. That's okay.
Yeah.
Are you interested in exploring the future of technology with speakers such as Mikio Kaku, Adam Savage, and
that's cool.
Ariel
You
Ekblau?
got those names.
Register now for Amazon Remars in Las Vegas on June 21st to 24th, 2022. You can visit that at https://remars.amazonevents.com
Cool.
and get your tickets for the event.
All right.
There we go.
That's all I got for you, Steve.
Text to speech, speech to text.
Stick
Using
around for
SDK.
more content.
We'll be right
We'll be
back.
right back.